Okay, time for another BlockStars interview. I am excited this week to introduce Yash from BGV, who's going to participate in this week's discussion. As you all know, BlockStars is an interview series that's focused on inspiring and educating those within the private investment industry or beyond. And we're really lucky to have Yash this week. He works for BGV, and it is an investment firm based out of California that's really focused on enterprise 4.0 solutions. So their firm invests in a variety of different AI technologies, and beyond that, Yash has actually done quite a few things. He's began his own venture firm. He's a Kellogg School of Management grad. He's a board member and investor in a lot of exciting organizations. And so I think today's conversation is going to be really multifaceted. Without further ado, I'm going to let Yash tell you a little bit more about himself so as not to steal his thunder. So Yash, how you doing?
Hey Seth, I'm doing great. Thanks for having me on this platform.
Awesome. Did I butcher anything in the introduction for you?
No. No, thanks for that intro. To introduce myself briefly, I'm Yash Hemaraj. I'm a general partner at Benhamou Global Ventures. To give you a little bit more background about BGV, we are an established VC firm. We are based in the Bay Area with offices in Israel, France, and India. We invest in what we call Enterprise 4.0. You touched upon it briefly. Enterprise 4.0 is a concept that we have been promoting where, we think about AI as a force multiplier, but in order to really operationalize AI in enterprises, you need to build AI systems, with three main ingredients: AI, task automation, and data. And putting all of them together in a full stack vertically integrated solutions that can drive even some of the most traditional industries. It can drive productivity gains in these industries. And a lot of the companies that we invest in are typically end up cross-border in nature. We have seen innovation is global. So founders from innovation hubs like Israel, France, India are building companies that can be transformational in the global enterprise space. So we help those companies come to the US because US is still the world's early adopter market. So we help them come over here. We help them scale up their operations from here. And the way we have been able to do it is because all of us have been on the operational side. We take our operational experience, our investment experience. All of us in our partnerships are immigrants. So we kind of take that immigrant background as well and really help the founders in their journey. In 2018, I picked up on India being the next hub for enterprise companies being built and help. I created a platform called Arca Venture Labs to help these companies come over to the US right from their pre-seed stages and help them grow here.
That's great. I was excited to read a little bit about that, and I don't think we'll go as much into that today. But I do want to learn about how you even got involved in the private investment industry, and specifically the niche that you're in right now, which is so transformative.
So I was born and raised in India. I came here for my master's in electrical engineering. So right after that, I got involved in wireless early stage startups. We took an entire city's radio infrastructure and miniaturized it to fit a size of a building. When you used to walk from your car inside your office, you would drop a few calls. So we tried to solve that problem with enterprise small cells. It was a very transformative technology. I was one of the first engineers in that company, built products, built technology architecture, and that gave me two things. One is the real experience of what it is to be in a startup right at the early days. We'd go recruiting people in the morning, getting them from the best companies like Besseem and Marvell, etc., getting them to join the company. Evenings, we'd kind of sit and code and kind of, get the system up and running. It was just the energy that the team members brought and it was amazing. So really loved that experience. Right. And when I went through my MBA, it got a chance for me to think about what do I want to do with the next phase of my life. And that's where it was very clear that I wanted to be involved in early stage companies. I love that energy, the early stage energy where you kind of roll up your sleeves and build. So that energy was kept me motivated, right?
Mhm.
And the second thing, what I also had a chance to reflect about me was that I am somebody who enjoys being involved in multiple projects at that same time. I like to do some things, let that kind of thought settle in, go do something else, come back and revisit. So that's how I operate. That's where I get my energy from, right? And now when you put these two things together, I found that venture capital is the perfect space for me because I like working with multiple projects. We are involved on multiple boards. I love to be helpful, and combining all of those things, this was the only kind of career choice that where I could do all of them. So that is what led me to venture capital. And having done wireless networking, if you look at what was happening in the 2013, 2014 time space, I've been in the industry since about 2014. Around that time, IoT, Internet of Things, was a very hot topic. And one of the main components of that was wireless networking. So that got me involved in BGV because BGV was one of the three pillars at that time was Internet of Things. So that's how I was able to take my prior experience and my passion and combine it with BGV to kind of do early stage investments.
It seems like venture capital found you, right? It seems like a match made in heaven. So obviously you've been involved in a lot of really, transformative projects. What gets you excited every single day? I mean, is it things like working with founders, or is it, helping them find the capital? What really brings you the most joy each day or gets you up?
Yeah. So there's one thing about knowledge, right? This is one of those industries where we are always learning, and we are learning from our founders mainly. I mean, I'm grateful to work with some of those founders who are so passionate about the industries that they are going after. They have this creative ideas that they want to bring to life, and just the energy that they bring, the commitment to their mission that they bring, is super exciting, right? That is one part of it. Second part of it is you're always learning. You're learning from customers, from your corporate partners. We're working with about 75 corporate partners at BGV. We learning from our founders and their customers. So you're always learning. And the third thing is that we are in an industry where, or we are in our firm's philosophy is you roll up our sleeves, and a founder is going through 10-20 things that they need to do all the time, be it building your go-to-market motion. Sometimes marketing is working, sales is not working, sometimes it's a vice versa. Sometimes you have a lot of customers that you have onboarded that you need to focus on customer success. Sometimes it's a leadership crisis. Sometimes you need to raise your next round of financing. So our strategy has been rolling up our sleeves and getting involved and making the lives of our founders, the executive teams, slightly easier. And when you make these 10 things 10% easier, you've made the life of your founders 2.5 times better, right? So that's what we focus on, and we derive a lot of energy from that. So this is what keeps us going.
That makes a lot of sense. Just to put you on the spot here, when you're talking to these potential portfolio companies, what are some of the characteristics that you're looking for in them? Passion seems to be at the top, but I'm curious what else you do look for when you're seeking them out, or they seek you and you're talking with them.
So obviously, the media just talks about the journey about either up and up, or down and down, right? But in reality, when you zoom in, it's like this, right? You have your ups and your highs, and you have your lows, and that is where the founder's passion for doing something great comes into picture. That's what motivates not just themselves but the entire team around them, right? So this is essential for whatever we are doing. Second thing that we look for is how deep of an understanding they have in that particular industry, right? Because when you look at the enterprise 4.0 concept, it's not just about AI is a great force multiplier, right? But it's about how the best forms of AI, if you think about it, are invisible, and they are invisible because they're so embedded in the everyday tasks that people need to perform, right? So that is where you get the deep domain expertise of the founders. That's what we look for. I will try to understand that. And we try to learn about that from the founders, their customers, etc. Obviously, we want the founders to be focused on a market that is growing, that is big. And the third thing is, when you look at it, the competitive intensity of a market, right? Startup world is still hyper competitive. So what you need is that focus on differentiation and expanding that, whatever is the metric that you choose for yourself, right? Keep on working on making yourself better and better, and increasing that gap between you and the rest of the field, and that moat that you build over time. So those are the things that we look for. Obviously, your ability to motivate a team and get people excited about your mission, etc. Very important aspects to this. So it's not just one thing, but it's a combination of these 4 to 5 things that I spoke about.
That's great. When you guys do identify the right portfolio company and you're onboarding them, what's that process like? And then, on the flip side, what's it like onboarding an LP or your investors?
Yeah. So we take our time to diligence our founders, right? It is bi-directional. What I mean by that is, while we are doing a diligence on our founders, right? Founders also, we enable them to do diligence on the value that we bring, the introductions that we could make, and how we could be helpful for them, right? So a lot of our onboarding starts even before we actually make an investment, because we are trying to connect them to our network. Our network is comprised of people that we have worked with in North America and Western Europe, which is 70% of the global B2B market. So we start connecting the founders to these markets and the corporates, like the 75 corporate connections that I mentioned. So, and help understand for us what is the problem that they are solving, and also show what value we can bring to the founder, right? So that is where we are starting to build that relationship. Now, once we give a term sheet, it's about getting getting the documents right. So that is where we work with the right partners in place, with the right legal counsel, right financial partners, because that happens to be, especially in those early days, is very often people ignore that function, but it is very, very important. And the third aspect of onboarding our portfolio companies is corporate governance. Again, another often ignored part during those early stages. It's about setting the right guidelines, having the right annual operating plan, just understanding, under the constraints that we live with as the startup, what do we need to work on, what do those milestones look like, and how we can all be contributing towards that. So having a very strong understanding of the annual operating plan, translating that to an OKR system, not just to the founder, but for the entire executive team, and focusing the board meetings on how we are executing those things. If the company is slightly advanced, then you get into having a comp committee and an audit committee, etc. In place. But getting the corporate governance right helps set up the company to deal with any challenges that come. The markets change, as you've probably seen. Sometimes the market gets super exuberant. Sometimes we may have leadership crisis on place. All of these challenges can be dealt with if you have the right corporate governance structure, right format for the board meetings, etc., and the right control system. So we put all of those systems in place, and we try to use kind of the right metrics to track whether the company is going in the wrong direction or in the right direction. If you want to accelerate it, or if you want to rethink things, that is on the portfolio company side. Now, on the LP side, again, we work with LPs where we want to build long-term relationships. At the end of the day, venture capital is a relationship game. It's your relationship with founders. Some of those founders become successful and they come back to us as LPs. So we've seen that happen so many times over. So it's about building the right relationships. It's about giving them the right information. A lot of times it's not just about feeding the right good news, right? It's about feeding the right information, meaning, highlighting the challenges that we are facing as well. What companies are at risk? How can they sometimes help in helping those companies? So having the right communication channel set up, having the right cadence of conversations with them, not just kind of sending them a quarterly newsletter, right? But it's about giving them the right information at the right time. Sometimes you see that the LPs also want to interact with other LPs. So having those events where LPs can meet us, we can exchange our thought process, give ideas on where we are going, as well as provide a forum for LPs to meet with each other. And it's a community at the end of the day. So what we're doing is managing that community. So we have all the pieces in place, but we can always be doing much better when it comes to managing this.
That's a great point. I think investor relations and investor communications might not be seen as the most critical part of an organization's, structure, of course, although it is incredibly important. And so the fact that you're addressing that right there is, right up front when I'm talking about onboarding an investor shows that you're thinking long term about that relationship. Because what I've learned from talking with GPs like you is that you may onboard a portfolio company, but you're going to be with them for 5 to 10 years. So if you're not thinking downstream right from the get-go, that's not going to be a successful relationship, and nor would the relationship be with the LP. So I do think that's really important. And I would be curious, actually. So you have events and you have communication that goes out. What is that cadence? What are those communications without giving away your secret sauce?
So there are so very important to understand kind of the format of kind of our LPs, right? We have sovereign funds, all the way institutionals, multifamily offices, to a wide network of high net worth individuals who are also execs in several technology companies, people with whom we have done business, founders who have been successful, etc., as our investor base, right? So it cannot be a one size fits all. Like we have 4 corporates who are LPs in us, and for them, we kind of work very closely on addressing their corporate needs, what we are learning from our interactions, because one thing that we do get is a lot of pattern matching from a lot of these early stage founders. So, we get an idea on what is coming down the horizon. Those are invaluable insights for the corporates. And so we curate all of that into our investment theses, and we kind of do very focused investment thesis reviews with our LPs. Then we do events, which are very strategic, and we do this across multiple geographies that we are working with. Like, for example, we bring the Innovation Hub in Israel together with events there. In France, bring the Western European partners in there, in India, and also in the Bay Area, right? Like, for example, we are hosting a generative AI and cybersecurity event where we're bringing like our founders, our advisors, some thought leaders, as well as all of our LPs into the forum, and we invite them to come and join and learn. Right, so this is the cadence of events that we do. So a lot of ad hoc events coupled with quarterly QBRs, quarterly business reviews. Right, obviously that is accompanied by the financial statements that go out quarterly, the quarterly newsletters that we send out, etc. So it is not just one, but a sequence of events that are kind of interspersed with each other throughout the year. And we do, in summer, we do an annual LP event where we bring everybody together in person. And then we do something during the holiday season for much more social event to kind of bring the community together again.
That's great. It sounds like you guys do an excellent job of working with your LPs. So I'm happy to hear that. Okay, so let's talk about the future here. So, I have somebody that's an expert on the line with me right now. I want to know what you think the future of private investments is. It's actually been a pretty strange last year and a half. So what are you thinking in terms of where the future might be, as far as hopefully working through this economic downturn, and then just beyond, where the industry's going in general?
Good. I'm going to talk about 2 parts of this, right? One is, what are we excited about from a technological innovation perspective, right? So probably as you heard and seen, right, generative AI has caught the imagination of everybody. You've seen that in the numbers of people, especially on the consumer side, where people are like, oh, we need to pay attention to this thing, and people are experimenting different things with Chat GPT and the likes. But we have been focused on AI since about 2016, when we started seeing the democratization of a lot of AI technologies. Started off with simple machine learning, then kind of, the neural networks, computer vision, etc. Right? So this AI has provided a force multiplier for enterprises. But as I was saying, when you look at the needs of the enterprises, you cannot just give them a component of AI, right? Generative AI is going to transform probably a lot of industries and massive productivity improvements, right? This can impact such a large percentage of our GDP, accounts to trillions of dollars. All the reports kind of, focus on that. And that's real space of innovation, right? Things that were taking 5-year projects can be accomplished in 5 months, right? That is how much we are seeing, and these are being seen in our real conversations with companies, right? And that will drive new companies to be formed, and we are very excited about it. But what we see that the need is that people who take a full systems approach, people who think about the impact that it has on human lives. How do you make it trustworthy? How do you augment human capacity than replacing humans, right? So this is where, when you think about the autonomous enterprise, we are super excited about how it can improve and elevate the human experience as we do our everyday work. That involves kind of taking all the manual work, that repetitive work that you're not so excited about, and using AI to automate it so that you can focus on better work, right? So that is what we are super excited about when it comes to areas of investment. Now, what do you see happening in the industry itself, right? So one wave that we have seen is everybody has now realized that they need to have a piece of this early stage innovation. If you are working and you've built up some savings, you got to make sure that that savings is invested across a whole variety of buckets, including some fixed assets, some in cash, etc. And one other trend that we have seen is people have realized, okay, if I have to capitalize on this AI wave, I need to make some investment in some of these early stage bets. So we have seen a lot of high net worth individual retail investors becoming more aware of the need to kind of have some bets in this alternative investment category, and coming into the market, taking LP positions, even though it may be small, taking LP positions into funds. And I think that will drive a lot of capital into the venture capital industry going forward.
This is so cool. I love this topic. I feel like I could talk to you forever about this. Actually, something that's sort of interesting. So you obviously promote all these different organizations, help them to get the funding that they need for different like AI and Enterprise 4.0 solutions. How does AI impact you besides helping to raise the capital at BGV? Like, are you guys using AI in any way to streamline the processes over there? Or, how are you incorporating that into your own operations?
Yeah. So one thing that we have seen is, especially with the diligence aspect, right? Things that would take a long time, especially around kind of just building a bottom up understanding of a particular market. What are some of the trends, etc. That's where the generative AI aspects have extremely been helpful. There have been a lot of this has been happening in the industry for a while now. If you were to look at pre-2014, if you want to understand the competitive landscape of an industry, think about customer success. You want to understand who are all the players in that market. You had to go call up some people. There was no information. But then the likes of CB Insights, PitchBook, in India, there is a company called Traction, etc. They have kind of done an amazing job in assembling the right information, right? So the data is now in place for really understanding the founders backgrounds, where they have worked, the people that they are connected to. So it is not just one technology piece, but it's a combination of these technology pieces, like, LinkedIn and the LinkedIn connections, generative AI and the things that it can do for market size estimation, etc. It's about understanding competitive intensity and how the competitors are doing in this market, the review platforms that have come up, and what customers are talking about those companies. So this is, you got to, in the space that we deal with, which is very, very, very early, right? There are not much data points. So you got to piece together those data points. So for each, there's a piece of technology, right? And we make use of that. But at the end of the day, the glue of all of this is your relationship to the founder. And I don't think that is replaceable. And that's where we come in, right? It's about the relationships that we build in with the founders that comes in.
Yep. Unless you become a robot. And I like you the way that you are, Yash. I think that's the right place to be. I think giving the personal approaches is certainly the right one. Just a few more questions for you. So this is going to be kind of a fun toss-up. More of a softball question. What type of advice would you give to somebody that's looking to get into the venture capital space? They could be a brand new professional or somebody that's been in a different, industry for a while at the beginning of their career, middle of their career, and they're thinking, you know what? I've been a founder, or I've been on the marketing side of things, or I've worked in tech, and now I'm feeling I want to take all of that, that legacy information and knowledge and experience and get into the venture capital.
Yeah, so I spend a lot of time advising MBA students from Kellogg and a few other top MBA schools on this topic of getting into the venture capital industry. It's an industry that I got in. It's not an industry where the career path to get into is crystal clear. You got to navigate your own journey, and it is often confusing for people who come in from from outside to navigate the space, right? So what I give them, when they come in from the outside in, right, they don't realize what it is when you look at the everyday daily tasks that you need to go through, right? People look at it as a very sexy industry where you get to work with a lot of founders, etc. And the advice that I give them is look inwards on what type of person you are. And I share my insights about working in the industry for the last 9 years in this, right? Which is an industry where you're always context switching. I'm attending an event later today. I'm doing an interview today. I had a board call earlier. There was a new founder that was pitching. And each pitch could be in a slightly different area. Even though we invest in enterprise, we are investing in 5 different areas within enterprises, right? So you're always context switching. So you have to be somebody who is comfortable and who also enjoys multitasking and context switching. Second, this is not an industry where there is somebody who's up there and tell you, okay, these are the 5 things that you need to do. You need to chart your own day of your life, right? You need to control where you spend time, how you spend time, and what type of relationships that you build. It's still like I said earlier, it's a relationship driven industry, right? So you have to be comfortable in all of these 3 things: multitasking, being self-motivated, and being open to network and find out about what companies are out there, what other investors are investing, what areas that you are excited about, what areas corporates are excited about, etc. Right? So if you are somebody who enjoys these 3 things, then you are a good fit to the founder. Because to become a VC investor, and sometimes when you have founders who are coming in from outside the industry, they were successful doing one thing really, really well, right? But they may not be comfortable in this environment of context switching, and obviously they are self-motivated, but they like to do one thing and do that really, really well, right? So so that's what I help them think through. And if after looking inwards, if they still believe that this is something that they want to do, then I try to kind of help them in any way I can.
Yeah, that's great. It's almost an advantage that, to my knowledge, there's no venture capital or private equity courses really, or like a major in venture capital or private equity at any university. It almost sounds like you have to go through some things in order to get there. Again, like what happened with you, you eventually, I don't know if you found venture capital or venture capital found you, but it did seem to ultimately be the right spot for you to land in. And yeah, I think that's great that you're able to give advice to folks that may or may not be a good fit for it, but help them navigate that path and probably tell them make some mistakes on your own. And from those mistakes, you might find yourself in VC and you'll be more successful as a result of it. Two more questions for you. These are questions that I ask everybody. So the first one is, money aside, what makes a deal successful for you with a portfolio company?
See, at the end of the day, money is a motivator, but it's not the main motivator. It's that relationship that you build with the founders. I like to have a very strong relationship, and really kind of build an exchange where they can come to you for anything. It's not just related to the company, but be it anything, and being there for them, and a lot of times they for me has been the thing that is most helpful for me, right? That is the type of relationship that I strive to get or work for when it comes to our companies, our founders, right? So that because even though companies are successful or not so successful, they will come back and do another company. So you want to be the first call when they come to you when they're doing their next idea, where they may have taken all their learnings and it may work out amazingly well, right? You want to build that trust, that relationship with the founders.
I think that seems like such a neat journey to go through. We've all been part of something where you both have a ton of skin in the game, right? There's just a mutual interest. It's beneficial for both parties, but whether or not it turns out good or bad, there's such a learning experience and really is a bonding experience for you. You get to really understand each other in your highest of highs, your lowest of lows, how people will react in that. And at the end of the day, it really is all about people. It's about those relationships that you form, the communication and bonds that bring you together or keep you together through all those trials and tribulations. I really appreciate that answer right there. My last question is, would you attribute your success more to skill or luck?
Skill or luck? I think it is a combination of both. I kind of read a quote someday where you say success is simply a matter of luck. You can ask any failure about it, right? It is about in our industry we keep on learning. We keep on learning from everything. You got to the most important thing is being present when there is an opportunity, right? It's about putting in the hard work to get in front of those opportunities, and then luck follows, right? But it is about putting in the hard work, putting in that effort, and the skill is kind of continuously being refined, if you know what I'm saying. It is like if you're there, you learn, success or not, you learn from it, and the skill gets honed a little bit, then you make better things. But I'll say this, you need luck in this industry, because sometimes you're too early, sometimes you're too late, sometimes there is a catalyst that kind of accelerates the industry. So you cannot be in the industry without a matter of luck, but you cannot just blindly trust luck on it.
Makes sense. Well, I do know that BGV is lucky to have you, and that your skill set is obviously really imperative to them. And that's why you guys are successful. So I want to thank you so much for your time. It was great. Question, if people are looking to connect with you or learn more about BGV, what would they do?
All of us in our partnership are fairly accessible. We are on LinkedIn across multiple channels. You can go to our website. Our information is all available over there. So I would request any founder or anybody, right? Be it an operator, be it an investor, etc., to reach out to us and get to know us. So we are available on multiple channels.
Excellent. Well, I hope that they've gotten to know you quite a bit over the last 45 minutes while we've been chatting. I know that I have, and I've really enjoyed it. So thank you again, Yash, and we will keep in touch.
No, thanks for having me, Seth. I really enjoyed the conversation.
Yep, me too. We'll catch you soon.
Thank you. Bye.